Tonight, as you may know, the state of Indiana passed a law that defunded Planned Parenthood because they're big-time abortion providers. But Planned Parenthood has said if taxpayers don't fork over millions and millions of dollars, poor women are going to lose access to health care. Is that claim actually true, though? Would women really suffer? Investigators at a pro-life group called Live Action filmed some of the Planned Parenthood clinics in Indiana. They made some phone calls to find out.
Oh, hi. I just had a question about your Medicaid services.
We are no longer a Medicaid provider.
Is there another clinic that we should try or something else we should...
You need to probably go to your primary doctor.
But they would be able to provide the same services?
Yes.
You know, where should I go if I'm no longer able to receive care, through Planned Parenthood for well women care and things like that?
Neighborhood Health, is it Neighborhood Health Clinic? Is that the name of it that's up here? Does, GYN exams as well.
And are those covered for Medicaid patients or?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Joining us now from New York, Sally Cohn, founder of the movement Vision Lab, a liberal think tank, and in Mountain View, California, Lila Rose, the president of Live Action Films, the group that did the undercover work. Ladies, great to see you both. And Lila, since your group is the star of the show, you can start. Now, what was the thinking behind these calls? And you called, I think, only 16 of the 28 clinics. What does this really prove?
Sure. Well, Planned Parenthood is waging a national and a local campaign to justify all the ultimately hundreds of millions of dollars, tax dollars, that feed into this organization. They're the biggest abortion chain in America, committing over 300,000 abortions every year. And in Indiana, they commit over 5,000 a year, over 50% of all abortions in the state. Meanwhile, they serve less than 1% of Medicaid patients, but the Obama administration has recently stepped in, and a judge, after the state voted to defund the organization of that Medicaid money in order to force Indiana to continue to fund this abortion provider in their own state. So we decided to step in and find out what really happened to Medicaid patients that maybe couldn't go to Planned Parenthood anymore because they were defunded, and what would happen to those Medicaid patients. We found out that, as is the case, there are over 800 providers for Medicaid in the same counties where Planned Parenthood clinics are, and Planned Parenthood lower-level employees themselves, when they're encountering these patients, tell them and happily refer them to all kinds of other providers that provide the exact same services through Medicaid, ultimately making their own point that we're not essential for your health care. We do not need, you do not need to come to us. There are other providers for you to go to.
Now, let's go to Sally on this. Sally, it would seem that it's pretty ingenious investigative reporting. I mean, this is the kind of stuff 60 Minutes used to do, right? Go right to the heart of a question and find out, what the real answer is. Isn't it true, though, what Lila said, that primary care is widely available for poor women in Indiana, and the claims that somehow they're going to be out on the street, not going to be able to get pap smears, is kind of ludicrous?
In fact, no. I mean, we all know the difference, that just because, it means it's not the only option doesn't mean it's not a vital option. And 2/3 of these Planned Parenthood clinics are located in communities that are classified as medically underserved, in rural communities where, especially with gas prices and unemployment, it's harder and harder to get these services. So, look, this is I also want to say the 800 other options that were listed there have included a juvenile detention facility, the Indiana Women's State Prison. These are the options, the alternatives that House Republicans in Indiana have put forward as reasonable alternatives for women in Indiana to get preventative reproductive care.
One at a time. Okay.
I think a fundamental point here is the fact that the state of Indiana told Planned Parenthood, if you suspend your abortion practices, they do over 50% of abortions in Indiana. This is how they make money. If you suspend those practices, you can receive as much Medicaid money as you want, but they refused. They're using Medicaid services, serving less than 1% of women in Indiana, as a front for an abortion business that is cornering the market in Indiana. That's what this is about. It's about abortion. And that's how it is across the country. Over the last several years, Planned Parenthood has been increasing its share of the abortion market across our nation every single year, even while abortion numbers remain static or even decrease across the nation. This is the reality that we're facing, that this is an abortion-minded organization with a radical ideology that is, along with a sling of other abuses when it comes to covering up sexual abuse, aiding and abetting trafficking. They're not good for women ultimately. They're not actually helping women.